So I got invited back to do Jubilee for my third time, despite the fact that I am just some guy with no followers who does fantasy football league videos for my friends and occasionally talks about politics. Um, I had an amazing experience. Really appreciate Jubilee for giving me an opportunity to come out and talk again. I love being able to talk about politics with people in real life instead of on the internet where you can't really get into your points and articulate your point of view and have a real back and forth. I think that's great. There are parts of the format I'm not in love with. Some of them I understand why they exist. They help to generate engagement and they make it more exciting. Sure, why not? Um, One of the things I think I want to acknowledge from the start is why did I wear a suit? Uh, I did the Cenk Uygur uh, Jubilee surrounded, which I did a video about a little while back. But in that video and other videos that I've watched, it's always the conservatives that are wearing suits. And I'm not sure why that became like a conservative coded thing. Um, I used to wear like kind of stereotypical hippie clothing when I was involved in the Occupy protest back in the day, and the media used that to kind of disparage the protest movement. So when I joined the Bernie Sanders campaign years later, I wore a full suit and went door to door like a freaking Mormon or a Seventh Day Adventist or something. They don't wear suits, do they? Well, anyway, so I wore a suit then, and then after my latest Jubilee video, I was like, you know what? I got invited to this new one. Had no idea who was going to be, what the topics were going to be. But I did say I'm going to wear a suit because I'm going as a woke liberal. And I just think that conservatives shouldn't have a monopoly on wearing suits. That's really all that was. Um, it was a really surreal experience. There was a lot more conversation about trans athletes than I would have thought. Um, I mean, wokeism to me is about a lot of different issues. I thought that guy Mason did a really good job of saying about how, it was wokeism. And then before that, it was critical race theory. And before that, it was social justice warriors. Like they keep finding a new way to harp on these things. But ultimately, like at the end of the day, what is being woke to me? Being woke to me is like you are aware that there are larger systemic social problems, that things that an individual may be confronting in their lives, like the reasons they may be poor, disabled, or being held back in life. Some of it may have to do with themselves, but some of it has to do with social structural forces beyond their control. They just happen to be born into the wrong situation. God spawned them and, gave them a really hard spawn. God gives some people really easy spawns. I think it's woke to just recognize that. I think it's woke to recognize why so much of this country is being left behind. I think it's woke to say that all the conversations about woke are to distract us from the things that really should be uniting us and that we should really be focusing on. So that was why I did it, seeing that it was woke liberals against a conservative. I wouldn't call Piers Morgan a conservative necessarily, but that was the kind of understanding I came into it with. It's a tough format. You only get a guarantee of 2 minutes to get to speak. Not everybody even gets a chance to speak. You only get 20 minutes of prompt. There's like 20 to 30 people in the circle. So that's part of why there's so much kind of jostling to get to the chair. And then when you're sitting there, especially with Pierce, but really with all of them, even though the person in the middle is all the time in the world and they're repeating the same points repeatedly, they are interrupting the person in front of them constantly, which makes it even more difficult and gets you more flustered when you only have so much time to get a point across. So I felt bad for some of the people that I thought did really well, but Pierce just wasn't letting them get a word in edgewise. I thought the one claim that Pierce did pretty well on was the one about pronouns. Because especially when we got into the conversation around neo pronouns, even the people on the woke side, this was something that I've never really been able to wrap my head around. So, I don't think that it was like a clean sweep necessarily. Not that anybody's keeping track of the score or anything like that. The woman who went at the beginning, I can't remember. I think it's Not So Erudite, if I remember from the YouTube comments. When she was speaking about toxic masculinity, I think she did the best job out of anybody, frankly. I thought I did okay. And then Pierce said, "Oh, I'm going to bring Nick back because he impressed me so much." And of course, the idiot in me took that as an ego boost, like, "Oh, I must have done a good job." In retrospect, I think he chose me because I was one of the weaker people that he could have chosen. I think Parker does this obviously very regularly online. Again, that woman that went first, Erudite, she was really well researched and well spoken, and I think she would have wiped the floor with whatever prompt that she was able to choose that she would have actually been prepared for, considering what she was able to do without preparation. But uh, it was still. I think I did okay, and I was flattered to be able to ask to come back, and I think I picked a good topic to be able to debate with him for 10 minutes. That one I did come like prepared to speak about, which is why I think I did a little bit better with that one. But only one person gets to do the prompt that they actually got to prepare, so it's a little bit lopsided. But overall, you get to hear from a lot of different people and hear perspectives you wouldn't normally get to hear. And I know that the show itself is controversial, but I think on balance, it's a fun thing. It's open to anybody. I mean, there's absolutely no reason I should have been on it. I always see people who are like, how do they find these people? The people find them. There's an open casting letter. Just sign up for it if there's a video you want to do. Helps if you live in LA. But yeah, just thought you'd want to hear a little bit more about what it's like on the inside. But thank you guys who have managed to trickle through and find this channel. I hope to be doing more political content in the future, especially as football season ends. It was a really cool experience, super surreal. Somebody that I had seen a lot of over the years, and I felt really happy that I was able to just like hold my own with him. Think I could have been done better, like I said. Think there were other people that did better than me, but I think that there's too many people that are trying to take one extreme position or the other in our politics these days, and I'd like to add to the voices of people that are trying to call balls and strikes and just try and get to the truth of what's out there. That's why I thought it was important to call out that I was wrong about the people that have been fired. One of the things people don't understand about doing these Jubilee videos, they have the topics ahead of hand. They have prepared. You are just responding in the moment to things as they come up. I had no intention of going into this conversation talking about COVID. I have a lot of feelings about the COVID response. I think that masks and vaccines are weirdly not one of the things that I would find controversial. I would think the lockdowns would be the thing that people would get more upset about, in terms of like how much support for the efficacy of those and the politics that went into it. I had to live that from the inside. I was working for a state legislator at the time, and we had to get unemployment insurance, checks for people that had been laid off. And the system collapsed under the amount of people that we were keeping at home. And it was unclear how long they were going to be there and how long were the unemployment benefits going to last. There was a lot of mismanagement, and it wasn't just the Trump administration. It wasn't state governments. It wasn't local. Everybody was clawing in the dark, figuring out what to do. So Pierce's point about facts were evolving and we didn't understand everything at every stage. I get it. But like, vaccines and masks work, man. They work as they are intended to. It's not that you'll never get sick, but anyway, now I'm getting on this tangent again. If you want to hear more, let me know. Hope you guys like hearing from me. I like talking on the internet like it's the olden days, no kind of, I don't know. I just want this to be like a blog of political thoughts and hopefully start a dialogue with some of you. So let me know if that's something that interests you. Thanks, everybody.